Hello everybody and welcome to Toxic Geek Gaming. Today I'm doing a little bit different video for it. I'm not going to be playing a game or doing anything like that. Today I actually wanted to come on and talk about Dungeons and Dragons. So during the pandemic, I know a lot of people have been wanting to get into Dungeons and Dragons, but not necessarily go out, or the people that had Dungeons and Dragons groups tried to not meet up as much, but still wanted to continue playing. So what I wanted to do today is I want to talk about some online tools that I use to help you do a virtual Dungeons and Dragons game. We'll kind of break it up in multiple videos here to make a series of this. I'll show you what virtual tabletop I use in a later video. But today it's really just talking about how to organize yourself, what program I mainly use or what website I use to keep track of my character sheets, character development, stuff like that as a dungeon master, and also to help out new players. So right now, Dungeons and Dragons is one of the best states I've ever seen it, and I've played Dungeons and Dragons all the way back from first edition, pen and paper, old school D&D, played some advanced D&D, played 3.5, hated fourth, but played a little bit of fourth. Now playing into the fourth edition Reminiscent, and also playing some of the game testing for the new ones coming out. So I'm definitely experienced in this, and I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for probably 17 years now. So, I mean, I've played as a player. I dungeon master now for all my friends. We actually have a current game going that we've been playing almost bi-weekly. Every once in a while, some schedules get thrown around. We have fun with it. And I'm going to hop over here to my other screen and show you guys the website that we've been using for an online campaign that we've been. All right, guys. So now that you can see my screen here, you will see that we are looking at Dungeons and Dragons Beyond. I know a lot of people know about this website already, especially if you're experienced in D&D. I just want to go in and explain some of the major benefits of why you should have a subscription to this and how it'll help out your online session. So, with Dungeons and Dragons Beyond, it allows you to have all your resources that you need to play 5th edition or even beta test some of the newer stuff that they're bringing. It is great. Now, I will admit it is expensive to get started, but you don't have to pay all that money up front to have a decent game. So there is free stuff that you get whenever you first make an account on here. It'll give you all the basic rules to actually do a starter campaign for 5th edition if that's what you just get in Dungeons and Dragons before you spend any money. Start with the free stuff. And then after you get more into it, then they have this massive store, guys. You can come on here. So like you can buy full handbooks. Player's handbook is a must after you get started with the free stuff and you want to advance even more. I recommend picking up the player's handbook. $30. Now, what we tend to do, because I have all the source books already, I didn't buy them all on Dungeons and Dragons Beyond. I wish I had at some point. But the other thing that you can end up getting, there are bundle deals. I don't recommend that for any new players because they are very expensive. But then the other thing that you get is, say, let's click in here to this player's handbook. I'll show you guys an example. So for the player's handbook, it's going to show you all these individual purchases that you can make that are very, very cheap. So say you have somebody that wants to play a certain class or a certain race and you don't have it unlocked and they know exactly what book it is in, you can go pick that up for usually between $2 to $5. So highly recommend that for the cheaper purchases. Say like someone wants Tasha's Cauldron and they want a certain spell out of there. You can pick up those spells really cheap instead of buying the whole book. So don't look at Dungeons and Dragons being too expensive to really get into. Look at it more as an investment for fun. So why it can get really expensive, it doesn't have. Now, the one thing I want to show you guys, especially for new players and DMs, is the character sheet. So I'll click here on my characters once it loads up here. You can tell I have a slew of characters already made. Now, some of these are just copies from old games. Some of them are from the current campaign that we're running. That's the Steven here. Steven is in the current campaign we are running. He was an NPC that got thrown into the party. In order to do this, all you have to do is hit create a character, and it walks you through step by step on creating a character. You don't have to go through all these books, read all the rules. It's all built into their source, and it is great. And then once you get it done, I'll show you here kind of what the character sheet looks like. So this is Steven's character sheet. He is a Hill Dwarf rogue that is level 3. And right here is all of your stats. You can click on them, change them if you need to. Do whatever you would need to do. And then the great thing about this too is this online application also has an app on most phones. So you can download your character sheets, have them if say you are meeting in person. Have your character sheet digitally right in front of you wherever you go. And I love that. Now, something else for Dungeon Master. So, my campaigns will help you organize all kinds of stuff. So, as you can see here, I'm the Dungeon Master of all three of these games. This is an old one. This is just a game that I was messing around on trying to figure stuff out. And the Hidden World is our current campaign. And you can tell there are 5 characters in there, including Steven. So, Steven, as I said, was the NPC. So now I'll click on View My Campaign. And in this campaign, I kind of have a breakdown of what is going on. And then as I go into more notes, there's a ton of stuff in here. I just keep editing my game log to keep track of what we are doing in game. And that helps my organization out a lot. Because I know taking notes, pen, paper, I tend to lose them. So having them digitally all right here on D&D Beyond is great. It also gives me the ability to see all my characters. So I didn't make all these characters. The actual players made these and then added them to my campaign so I can see them. This allows me to go in, make sure they're playing by all the fair rules. It allows me to view their characters. So say if they're trying to find something in like a new player and they can't figure out where their AC is, pull up their character sheet, help them guide through it. If you're both looking at it at the same time, it helps out a lot. So I actually have a new player during this campaign who is actually Fambrat, right? Never played Dungeons and Dragons in his life. It is a complete learning opportunity. And using this D&D software has made it so much easier than handing them a 250-page book and say, here, go and read this. So I highly recommend for new players to also find a DM that will work with you on D&D Beyond. It makes it so much easier. The other thing that is great is you got this source engine here for all these different books, but then game rules. This is what I was looking for. Game rules here. So say you have somebody that's asking about equipment. As a Dungeon Master, I hated going through the books all the time. So say someone was wanting to buy like a horse, right? So you just type in horse here. Boom. Right there they are with a cost. That is so much easier than trying to look through an appendix, figure out where it is in your Dungeon Master guide, flipping to that page. So much smoother, and it gives you answers so much faster to be keeping the game flow. The other thing that's great is spells. So how many times have you guys had a wizard and they're like, well, I've got all these spells. What do they all do? Well, you can actually go in here and you can actually click on level. So this will organize all of your spells by what level they come in. So like you got your cantrips starting out, which yes, wizards have a ton of spells, guys. Then you have your first level spells. And then what I like to do is I'll click on them. It'll tell you where the book is if you do not own that spell. So there is a lot that I don't own. Now what I would do is I would copy this stuff, or whatever it is, and then I make a spreadsheet of all their spells for them, and it keeps it nice and organized in that manner. So it's wonderful. Let me switch back over to my characters here. Bring up Fambrat. What's the wrong thing? Let me go to my campaigns. Bring up Fambrat and show you his actual character. Because his character is a sorcerer. Not as crazy as a wizard, but I'll show you how the program organizes it. So on his character sheet, he is a sorcerer. He has a ton of spells. So on the front here, it shows you his main spells that he will use, any weapons that he can. Then you can click on his attacks. Same thing here. It just organizes everything all to good. And then you go into spells. So this is where it gets crazy. This will show you every spell that he has memorized in the game already. So you can cast all of these. Now if he levels up, you click manage spells. Full list of spells here. These are all his known spells. So he needs to add a spell. It tells you how many he can know at his current level, which he already has. But then whenever he levels up again, right here is all the spells that he can learn. So you just click learn here off to the side. It spends his points. You're done. You don't have to go through a ton of pages in a hardback book anymore. So if you're wanting to get into Dungeons and Dragons, you're wanting to find a game, play, have fun, and not spend a lot of money, I highly recommend going. So one last tool that I do want to show you is if you are in your game source or your collection. So on this is the beta system right now. It's called My Encounter. As a Dungeon Master, this makes your job so much easier. So you guys will look here. There's a frost giant encounter. It says deadly because my players weren't supposed to go here. But they actually just killed the frost giant in the last game that we played. Using their wits, they outsmarted him, dropped the giant boulder on his head, doing massive damage. End up taking down a frost giant way earlier than they. But let me show you guys. If I go into this frost giant here, and then I go into edit. So what this encounter lets you do is you can look at every creature in any book. If you don't own it, it'll ask you to buy it. Again, a couple of dollars for a creature isn't. So you'll pick it up, you'll build your encounters, and then you can see right here your average party level. If you click manage characters, so this is on preset. I could also go down to the hidden world, which is my campaign. It brings all of my characters in with their assigned levels and tells me how hard a difficulty fight will be for them. Like I said, they should have killed them, but they ended up outwitting him and taking him. So kind of a bad example there. But you can add every creature, set up all your encounters, and what I like to do is set up random encounters as well. That way, if they happen to be traveling and say I have like a random forest encounter made up. If they're traveling in the forest and they're wanting to go to sleep, roll the dice. See if a random encounter happens. If it does, I have one already pre-built, and I'm not scrambling around trying to figure out what I'm going to throw at them. It's already there for you. Keeps the game flowing, makes it more fun and interactive. The other thing that D&D Beyond allows you to do, you can actually roll digital dice on your character sheet. So say you are playing online, well, they could roll the dice on their character sheet. They don't necessarily have to roll it on a table or a cluttered desk wherever they are and tell you what they're rolling, and you're hoping it's accurate. I can view their character logs, see what they're rolling. It is great. I trust my players. I don't look into their rolls too much because I'll show you on my VTT. There's also a dice rolling that we use. That's a lot better. It makes it a little bit more interactive. Kind of like we're back at the table. That's for the next. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this little tutorial look at D&D Beyond. Highly recommend people playing D&D. I know I've said that a lot, but believe me, if you guys have ever wanted to play a role-playing game where you literally have the ability to do anything, Dungeons and Dragons. They even just released a new book that brings you into outer space, which is crazy for a medieval role-playing game, but it's there now. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments. I'll be glad to answer any of them that you guys have. If you guys want to try to get into a game sometime and are looking for a Dungeon Master or how to find one, feel free to put that in there too. I'll help you guys find some links where you guys can find some Dungeon Masters in different games. But then until next time, where I'll show you guys my VTT, keep it toxic, keep on gaming, and I'll see you guys next time.